Hello guys, T Reaper is here again, and today I'm gonna do it. If I were to start from scratch at the Power 5 football teams in the NCAA, this is how I do it. Now here's a quick disclaimer. I have knocked Rutgers out of the not Big 5, well obviously the Big 10, but they have not done anything while they've been in the Power 5. I don't think they've made a bowl game, and all they've done is really just suck. So, if you're a Rutgers fan, I'm terribly sorry. They are now in the group of 5, and Notre Dame has taken their place. Because they should be in the Power 5. Well, I think they technically are, but I'm not sure. So first of all, I'm going to go over the conferences. So, I'm going to start with the ACC. So in the ACC North, because it's broken up into 4 divisions of 4 teams. So in the ACC, we got the North, the Central, the Carolina, and the South. The reason why I didn't do East and West in here is because it's really just a North to South division. It's hard to do a North or East and West. So in the ACC North, I've got Penn State, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and Boston College. I think that's the order they'll finish in, and I'll always read it from first place to 4th place. The ACC Central, we've got Virginia, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and Maryland. And then in the ACC Carolina, or it's just the ACC North Carolina, I should say, because it's NC State, UNC, or North Carolina, Duke, and Wake Forest, which is basically all 4 of the Power 5 North Carolina teams. In the ACC South, we got Clemson, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Now we're going to go to the SEC East. We got Florida, Miami, Florida State, and Georgia Tech. 3 or 4 years ago, this division just would have been stacked. But now Miami and Florida State have both dropped off, and I think this is Florida's division to lose. In the SEC West, we got Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Baylor. And it is it's all Texas teams. I think it makes the most sense. They're the easternmost Texas teams, I believe. There's one more Texas team that I put in the Pac-12. And then the SEC Southwest, because you can't really do North and South in here because it's an East to West division. We get LSU, Missouri, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, which is basically all in the southwest part of the SEC. Could have just named the SEC West SEC Texas, but I don't know. Here's another tough division. Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, and Mississippi. Those top 3 teams are just going to fight to the end every year. Let me know if you'd like to see that Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi division. There's one more I think you guys are really going to like. Oh, and here it is right here, the Big 16 East. Ohio State, Michigan State, Notre Dame, and Michigan. This is a stacked division. 12-0, 11-1, 10-2, 9-3. One of them has to miss the playoffs. A 9-3 team has to miss the playoffs. And I'll get into the playoff in a bit. Then we got Northwestern, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois in the Big 16 North. The Big 16 South, we got Kentucky, Purdue, Indiana, and Louisville. In the Big 16 West, we got Nebraska, Iowa, Iowa State, and Kansas. I didn't really change the name of any conferences. I kept the ACC and SEC, changed the Big 10 to the Big 16, and changed the Pac-12 to the Pac-16. And the Big 12 just broke up and split into new conferences. I think a lot of them ended up in the Big 10, like Kansas and Iowa State. Now the Pac-16. We're going to get into the North right away. Oregon and Washington, then Washington State, then Oregon State. This is going to be another stacked division with all of the top 3 teams just battling every year. In the Pac-16 West, we got USC, Stanford, UCLA, and California. Then the West. The Pac-16 East, we got Oklahoma, TCU, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. Another pretty tough division. In the Pac-16 South, we got Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, and Colorado. Which I think I did a decently good job. But if you have any complaints about this, let me know. So you're like, what about those rivalries? What about, I don't know, Georgia, Florida? What about Hold on, I'm getting to that. Or Alabama, Tennessee. What happened to that? Oh wait, I forgot to just talk about Tennessee. Oh no, I didn't. So, here are all the protected rivalries. Penn State has both Michigan State and Ohio State in the out-of-conference. Because Ohio State and Penn State have been a rivalry out of the past few years, and Penn State and Michigan State play for the land-grant trophy. Pitt has West Virginia. It's an out-of-division protected rivalry, still the same conference. There's two protected rivalries, out-of-division and non-conference. Clemson, they have Florida State in the non-conference. Then Tennessee, they have Alabama and Georgia in the non-conference. USC and Stanford both play Notre Dame in the non-conference. Oklahoma plays Texas in the non-conference. Kansas plays Kansas State in the non-conference. Florida plays Georgia. I think I already said that. Georgia Tech will play Georgia in the non-conference. LSU will play Alabama in the out-of-division. So you already get all the Georgia ones. Mississippi State will play Ole Miss in the out-of-division. Ohio State will play Nebraska other than Penn State in an out-of-division matchup. Michigan State will play Indiana in an out-of-division matchup because they play for the old brass spittoon. I can't talk today. Sorry if you hear my dog barking in the background. Notre Dame, they've obviously got Stanford and USC and Navy, which will fill up their non-conference schedule. Nebraska, obviously, so they have Ohio State. And we got the Holy War, Utah versus BYU. There's a couple group of 5 teams on here, but they're just such good rivalries, like Notre Dame and Navy and the Holy War. I mean, seriously, you can't get rid of those. Now we're getting into the playoffs. So, you have your division winners have an automatic bid. And then you have 2 wild cards from each division that get in. Sounds a lot like the NFL. I borrowed it exactly from the NFL. So we've got 24 teams that make the playoffs. And then we have a New Year's Invitational, which I'll get to after I explain the real bracket. So, we've got the ACC will play, obviously, the top 6 teams. The championship will be set in Washington, D.C., because there's a lot more teams up north now. All the locations have changed, just so you know. The SEC will now play in New Orleans because of all the Texas teams. The Big 16 will play in Chicago because there's a lot more teams out west and a few more teams down south. Then the Pac-16 will now play in Phoenix because there's some teams out east out there. Which, obviously, since I eliminated the Big 12, we'll have the ACC play the SEC for the Sugar Bowl. And obviously the Big 16 and Pac-16 play for the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl champion plays the Sugar Bowl champion. And, really, that's about it for the actual bracket itself, but I'll get into the teams that made it. So the 4 automatic bids from the ACC are Clemson, Penn State, Virginia, and NC State in that order. I'll always say it in the order, by the way. And then the 2 wild cards are Virginia Tech and Syracuse. Hey, that's my dog that just got in. And he stole my shoe. I'll be right back. Can I have my shoe back? Sorry about that. As soon as I put these shoes up, I'll be okay. I forgot to do that after I got back from school today. Hey, out. This dog tried to get back in again to steal my shoe. I'll be right back. I think I was on the SEC if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that. The SEC, we've got Georgia, LSU, Florida, and Texas, who were the automatic bids. We got Alabama and Texas A&M as the wild cards. The automatic bids from the Big Ten are Ohio State, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Kentucky. And the wild cards are Michigan State and Notre Dame. Those two wild cards are by far better than any of the divisional champions, by the way. And then in the Pac-16, we got Oregon, Oklahoma, Utah, and USC as the divisional champions, and Washington and Washington State as your wild cards. So let's get into it. So NC State versus Virginia Tech, the 4-5. The 5-seed Virginia Tech advances. The 3-seed Virginia versus 6-seed Syracuse. Upset alert! Syracuse goes into Charlottesville and steals the win. Texas versus Alabama. The Tide roll through the horns. And then Florida versus Texas A&M. Gotta go with Florida. They're too good. Then we Kentucky and Michigan State. Sparty goes into Lexington, picks up the win by a couple touchdowns probably. And then we got Northwestern and Notre Dame. Notre Dame will roll through Northwestern. And then we got USC and Washington. Sorry, Trojans. The Huskies end your season. Then we got Utah and Washington State. Gotta go with Utah. Now in the divisional round, we got Clemson. In Clemson. Clemson beats Virginia Tech, and Penn State beats Syracuse, and they will play each other in Washington, D.C. And we got Georgia and Alabama. Sorry, Tide. You won't make it to the Final Four this year. You get knocked out by Bulldogs in the round of 16. Then LSU, Florida. I gotta go with the slight upset. Florida. We got Ohio State and Michigan State. Another upset alert. I think Michigan State goes into Columbus and knocks out the Buckeyes in a very close game. Then Nebraska and Notre Dame. Dog. Zeke, get out of here. I'm recording the YouTube video. Just going through my stuff. And I'll just carry on. Hey, buddy. Hey, you're in a YouTube video. Okay. Anyway. Hey, can you get out, please? Okay, he'll just stay. Oregon and Washington, I got Washington with the upset. And Oklahoma and Utah, I got Utah with another slight upset. Clemson and Penn State, big upset alert. Penn State will upset Clemson and Washington, D.C. Now, this is just an example bracket, so don't take it seriously, please. Then we got Georgia and Florida. I got Georgia going to the Sugar Bowl to play Penn State. Can you get out? Out! There we go. I think he'll stay out now. And where was I? Oh yeah, Michigan State will beat Notre Dame in Chicago in a very cold stadium to go to the Rose Bowl. And then Washington will beat Utah to go to the Rose Bowl. Oh, by the way, the divisional will take place 1 week after the regular season. No, not the divisional. The wild card will take place after the regular season, divisional 2 weeks, championship 3 weeks, then obviously 2 New Year's games, and the national championship the Monday following New Year's, but it has to be at least 5 days. Because football, you need a lot of rest. Then Penn State and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. I got to go with the Bulldogs. And then the Spartans will beat Washington in the Rose Bowl, and then I think the Spartans beat the Dogs. So, don't take this seriously, please. Let me have some fun. But you should take the teams in lineup seriously, but don't take the bracket seriously. Take the bracket seriously, for sure. Just don't take the results seriously. Now, I've got the New Year's Invitational. So what are we going to do with the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, and the Peach Bowl? And obviously the Outback and Citrus are pretty high tier as well. Well, they'll be in a 6-team, pool almost. So, we got the ones... So these are basically the 8 best teams who did not make the playoff. So you have 1 from the Big 16 automatically, 1 from the Pac-16 automatically, 1 from the SEC automatically, and 1 from the ACC automatically. And your Group of 5 representative. The Group of 5 representative is automatically the 8 seed. Because they're not really going to do anything. but they can. But, no, yeah, they're automatically the 8th seed, but if they, I don't know about that. I'm trying to decide this as I go. I thought I had this organized. Let's just say that they have to be 3, I don't know. They cannot get the 1 seed, I know that for sure. So let's just say the group of 5 representative just has an automatic bid, and they'll get seated accordingly. Sorry about that. So the teams in the New Year's 6 Invitational. We got Michigan, Stanford, South Carolina, Miami, Florida, Iowa, Arizona State, Wisconsin, and UCF. Michigan's the 1 seed, so they have selected the Cotton Bowl because that is the one we're going to put the original rest of the New Year's 6 in the quarterfinals. And then we got Stanford selects the Fiesta, South Carolina selects the Peach, and Miami selects the Orange. And then UCF knocks out Michigan. Michigan fans are probably mad at me, but I don't care. Then Stanford will play Wisconsin and lose. South Carolina will play Arizona State in the Peach and win. And Miami will play Iowa in the Orange and win. So we got UCF versus Miami, Wisconsin versus South Carolina. Miami has chosen the Outback Bowl, and South Carolina has chosen the Citrus. But these will rotate every year, so the Citrus and Outback will be in the quarterfinals the next year. Hey, I don't know why you want to be in my YouTube video so badly.
See, come on.
And anyway, guys, UCF knocking out Miami in the Outback, and Wisconsin knocking out South Carolina in the Citrus. So this looks a lot like the what was I gonna say? The national championship in basketball a couple years ago. The 7th seed played the 8th seed. So we got Wisconsin winning it. And you have any questions about this? Let me know. And keep an eye out for the college football playoff, how I would do it without conference realignment. That's how I do it with conference realignment. Also keep an eye out for the gaming channel. I haven't checked the last 2 videos yet, but the first video starting from 2 videos ago to get 5 likes, I'll put up a gaming channel. Soonest I'll do it is Saturday. And hope you all have a good day, and peace out.